We believe that nature is erotic, sexy, and wildly provocative, and so we've chosen to create a collection of fragrances rooted in natural botanical elements that so far beyond clean, we rely on the finest that set that, get the powder set, okay? So welcome back. I'm Holly Golightly. This is Perfume Vegas. I'm currently getting ready for work. I do work at nights, so it is nighttime. If you're wondering why it seems like it's kind of dark, it is. It's nighttime. Plus it gets dark at like 4 o'clock here. I wanted to talk about this for a while. I've wanted to have this conversation just with, actually, like with anyone who's willing to listen, but just also just to put it out there, put my opinions out there. Hello and welcome back to Perfume Vegas. You are coming into this in the middle of a thing. There's a thing happening and you're coming in the middle of it. I did that on purpose so that I would have something to do while I chatted with you guys about clean perfume, clean fragrance. We're going to talk about that today. Basic bitch. So there is this kind of whole movement. First of all, the movement itself is clean everything. Anything and everything that can be cleaned up is being cleaned up. And that's fine. Like, I'm all for that, for the environment, for our health, for ourselves to just be more conscious of our consumption. I'm totally fine with all of that. However, I have noticed that clean perfume, first of all, clean perfume has kind of popped up, or I guess I should say the movement of clean perfume has kind of popped up through Instagram culture, which is not to say that that's a bad thing or that is not, that doesn't make it a legitimate movement. But the problem that I have with that is it then kind of becomes, they're on Instagram, they're advertising on Instagram, they're promoting through influencers, and it's like, welcome to our party, welcome to our gathering. We have this new fantastic situation going on here with clean fragrance, and welcome to our conversation, when in fact clean fragrance, the only thing that differentiates a clean fragrance from a normal fragrance is things like chemical additives, fixatives, and chemical-based fragrance compounds. Take those out of the equation and you have a clean perfume. Well, guess what? Indie fragrances have been doing that for, at least a decade, or much longer in some cases. Their brands have been creating, non-toxic, chemical-free, alcohol-free perfume oils, vegan in some cases, have been doing this for years. So it upsets me to a degree when a brand, I'm going to pick Skylar, when that comes in, when they come in and they're like, look at this, you know, we have this amazing person behind us. We're doing these amazing things with fragrance, and we're charging you a premium price to do so. It starts to become a little bit, it feels like it lessens the impact that it has. There's no reason why clean perfumes cannot, you know, charge $75, $85, $95 for like a 50 ml bottle. When you look at the cost comparison to like an indie perfume, where a 5 ml bottle is sometimes almost $20, you truly, it doesn't break down evenly. Obviously, your indie perfumes are more expensive per quantity, like per mil. They're more expensive than these higher level, like these more, I don't want high level, but more visible clean brands. But what starts to feel uncomfortable is when people start to think that they're charging that much for the product because it is a clean product, and not because it is a fragrance product that took a lot of time and energy to create, as well as materials, because that's basically what you're paying for. When you pay for when you pay $20 for 5 mils of an indie perfume, you're paying for the time it took to source the ingredients, the time it took to create the product, the time it took to list the product online, market the product in any way, all done by usually just one, maybe 2 or 3 people, depending on how big the brand is. For brands like Skylar, who are, you know, or Clean Reserve, or I can't think of any others off the top of my head. These brands are listed at Sephora. These brands are having revenue generated for them on Instagram for, you know, a fraction of the price, and they don't really have to put much back into it. So these are the clean brands are marketing themselves as something that is new, something that's innovative, something that is trending, something that people, you know, maybe wouldn't have thought of if they hadn't been there to introduce themselves as clean, which is a bunch of BS. It is a bunch of BS. The indie brands have always, you know, marketed themselves as clean. I mean, not clean brands, but the indie brands have always been open about the fact that due to their size and due to their the costs, overhead costs, they cannot always source certain compounds, and that they cannot always source different ingredients, packaging, labeling, any of those things. In fact, oil-based perfumery has been around for millennia. You know, in Egypt, in ancient Greece and Rome, the perfume was oil-based. The perfume was carried in oil. There wasn't any of this idea of it being clean, because that wasn't a concept, but it was obviously the most clean that it could be, because the chemicals that are now used standardly in the fragrance industry as fixatives and whatnot, they weren't even in the lexicon of perfumery. It was all oils and naturally derived scent compounds, which in indie perfume, it still is for the most part. There's some a growing number of indie perfume companies who are offering who are offering alcohol-based perfume. And I appreciate that and I applaud that, because it is a way to stay competitive as the more mainstream clean fragrance market gets bigger. Oil-based perfumes are more tricky to work with, are more difficult to wear than an EDP that you just spritz on and call it good and you go. Brands like Solstice Scents, one of my favorites, offer EDPs of their fragrances. I believe they are 50 ml EDPs, and they run between $75 and $85. Now you see there now where we have a brand offering a competitive product to these other high-end, or I mean not high-end, mainstream, I should be more specific, clean brands, where you see that the price point is quite naturally at that level just because of the ingredients and the work involved. I hope that just made sense, because I feel like that sentence didn't make sense, at least not what I was trying to say, but I hope that it did. However, you do also have smaller indie houses like House of Gloy, who are also offering EDPs now. The size I'm not sure of, but they're offering their EDPs, I believe, for $35 US. Now, there is probably a reason for that, and it's probably the same reason why the Solstice Scents perfume in oil is slightly more expensive than a same size House of Glory perfume in oil. There's a different production method. There's different fragrance combinations used, so on and so forth. One thing that's really interesting is that because fragrance is considered a proprietary compound, you cannot ask a fragrance company to reveal what exactly goes into their scent. So they can tell you that they have a fragrance that has rose, jasmine, musk, but you cannot ask them exactly how those scents are created, or how they are brought about, if not done through a natural process, which musk is not going to be a naturally derived scent. It is going to be a chemically derived scent compound unless you have, literally gone into an animal and removed its glands, and then it's not really doing much better, is it? So they won't tell you, what is used to create these scent compounds. They will only tell you the effect that you get. It is considered proprietary. They are protected by law. They do not have to give out that information. So all of a sudden, I feel like this whole idea of clean fragrance, it starts to have a lot of questions surrounding it. How clean is clean? How do we know? If you're calling your scents vegan, how can you prove that if you're not using chemical compounds as well? There's a lot of questions that are asked, or that are begun to be opened up when these brands start coming out and start making all these claims about their fragrances and their products that they don't have to follow up with legally. They don't have to release the information. I disapprove of the clean fragrance movement for the very fact that clean fragrances are not, by any definition, or fragrance, I should say, by any definition, cannot truly be considered harmless, no matter what situation it's put under. there's always going to be extracts, there's always going to be compounds put into perfume that can be harmful, especially for pregnant women or nursing women, can go into the bloodstream and be transmitted to a nursing baby or a baby who is still in the womb. There are certain spices, if they are not created, that's not the word I'm looking for, but if they're not prepared, if the oils, if the essential oils that go into the perfume are not prepared correctly, or if there's too high of a concentration of them, can literally burn the skin. I actually own a fragrance that there was a warning on the page that said, if you are sensitive to certain ingredients, this is going to hurt you. This is going to burn your skin. And if you buy this fragrance while knowing that, we are not liable for any pain you are subjected to because you chose to wear this fragrance. And I am not sensitive. I'm not a sensitive person. I don't have any skin allergies or anything that my skin is sensitive to. But the high concentration of natural spices in that particular scent does slightly irritate me. I do have to be careful. This is from Indie Perfume. This is from an indie perfume brand. This is from a brand that is clean by definition because they don't have access to the chemicals that a perfume house, has with their master chemists and whatnot. So clean by definition it really can apply to perfumery just in general, in my opinion. And so it's because of this that I disapprove of the labeling of scents as clean scents. I would prefer they just continued, they just stuck to things like non-toxic or, naturally derived botanical fragrance, things that are more in line with the actual production of the fragrance and not so much trying to imply that it's totally harmless. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish my face here, and then I'm going to be back and we're going to talk about a brand, but they have been kind of looped into that Instagram perfume category, and that is Heretic. All right, you guys, back. I look more normal. So Heretic Parfums is it's definitely an Insta brand, if you want to put it that way. I saw them on Instagram and I was interested, and so when there was a sale, I picked up a scent, and then when there was another discount, I picked up another scent. They do kind of market themselves as a clean fragrance brand. But it is interesting that on their website, under the About tab, there is a list of, it says it's called a list of things that you will never find in our perfumes. So they say, we believe in radical transparency when it comes to disclosing each and every ingredient to you. Below is a list of things that you will never find in our perfumes. Full ingredient lists for each of our fragrances can be viewed on each product page. So there's things like petroleum, sulfate, paraffins, isopropyl alcohol, benzalkanium chloride, preservative, dibutyl phthalate, let's see, more preservatives, different things, mineral oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, thimerosal, toluene, just a whole list of different preservatives, chemical compounds, things that are used in a lot of different things, not just fragrance, that they are saying are not found in their, you will not find those items in their perfumes. So I appreciate that transparency. I actually appreciate that transparency more than the transparency of a brand who says, here's what is in our fragrance, because like I said before, especially fragrance compounds themselves, the actual fragrance that makes the perfume is protected legally. They don't have to disclose what makes those scents. So the two scents that I own are Jasmine Smoke and Smudge. This is the 15 ml. They also come in a 50 ml size that's a little bottle. So I'm going to tell you first a little bit about the brand. So they say, the definition of a heretic is someone who does not conform to the established ideals or opinions of the masses. For those of you seeking something different, we're here to disrupt the status quo. We believe that nature is erotic, sexy, and wildly provocative. And so we've chosen to create a collection of fragrances rooted in natural botanical elements that go far beyond clean. We rely on the finest naturally derived ingredients rather than synthetic ones whenever possible. That's key, whenever possible. There are some things that you cannot get naturally without violating your own ideals. And we blend these materials in organic non-GMO sugarcane alcohol. These scents are made for all genders and are always vegan and cruelty-free. Inspired by ancient traditions, these plant-based perfumes harness the Ayurvedic and therapeutic properties of real plant extracts that are alive with the vibrancy and nuances of nature. The perfumer behind the brand, Douglas Little. And so the creator and perfumer behind the brand Heretic Parfums is Douglas Little. He's based out of LA, and he kind of rose to fame through his association with Goop, Gwyneth Paltrow's brand. From what I can tell, from what I've read about him in interviews, he seems to be very well spoken. He seems to be a self-educated person about perfume. He never did any like chemistry or internships or anything like that, as far as I can tell, at any perfume houses. I cannot say that that's a fact because that's only what my personal research has brought up. Regardless, he has been playing with distilling fragrances from what appears to be a very young age and deciding to take on the reins of creating his own fragrance brand. It doesn't feel like it was something that was done lightly. It does seem like this was something that, what is this? It does seem that this was done with intent. So, to be honest, how a person comes about to be doing what they do doesn't really matter to me as long as they do it well. And I feel like that Heretic Parfums are done very well. So with that being said, we'll leave off the brand itself for the moment and just talk about the two fragrances that I have. So I have the scent Smudge and I have the scent Jasmine Smoke. And there's actually quite a few fragrances that I'm interested in picking up from the brand. I may pick up the Discovery scent. I have a sample of Dirty Jasmine. No, that's a lie. I have a sample of Dirty Violet as well. It's nice. I don't like it as much as the other two, but there are some other fragrances that they offer that I would be interested in checking out and trying. Jasmine Smoke was the first, sorry, I'll put it here. Jasmine Smoke was the first fragrance that I picked up, and it is a silky tobacco jasmine scent that combines the contrasting elements of soft floral beauty and rich smokiness. A femme fatale of a fragrance with an alluring base of vanilla, tonka bean, blonde tobacco, and labdanum. It doesn't whisper, "Come hither," it demands it. Ooh. So this fragrance is so interesting. There's no top notes. So right away, there's nothing light about this fragrance. There's nothing wispy about this fragrance. There's nothing that's going to evaporate quickly about this fragrance. Oh no, there's nothing that says, there's nothing like polite about it. Not at all. The heart is jasmine absolute. The base, tonka bean, blonde tobacco, labdanum, and vanilla. And there is a overall feeling of it being florally, incensey, and leathery. This scent is so good, but it is heavy. It is definitely demanding, come hither. It's not asking politely. There's nothing polite about it. I would strongly recommend that you go with a very light hand on Jasmine Smoke. Sorry, the light is like whiting it out. That you go with a very light hand on Jasmine Smoke. Because this is one that could easily be offensive to other people if worn too heavily. But the first thing you get is that sort of tobacco-y and resinous feel of the labdanum and the tonka. There is not an immediate sense of jasmine. It's there, it shows there in the heart that this jasmine absolute is there, but it's not the first thing that you notice. Once you notice it, it is already so deeply entrenched in the rest of the fragrance notes that you are like, whoa, was jasmine there? Jasmine was there, and it is an indolic jasmine. It is heavy. It's like, but there used to be this story that went behind the Jasmine Smoke perfume, which was that of, as Douglas was growing up and him and his friends would be in the backyard, smoking cigarettes, there was a wall of jasmine separating him and his neighbor's property. And the scent of the jasmine mingled with the scent of cigarette smoke inspired this fragrance. And that's almost how it feels. It's almost as if this jasmine is like at the end of its lifespan and it's so thick in the air because it's almost too much. It's almost done with its life. It's not that fresh bloom. It's like it's heavy and it's there and it's present. On the ingredients tab, the ingredients list says there is no official definition of the term natural by the FDA. Very true. When we say that heretic perfumes or heretic fragrances are natural, we mean that all of our ingredients were extracted from plants, no synthetic replicas. There's non-GMO sugarcane alcohol, triethyl citrate. Try saying that 3 times fast. Vanilla, jasminum grandiflorum, jasmine flower extract, benzyl acetate, Dipteryx odorata, tonka bean seed extract, Pogostemon cablin, patchouli oil, Citrus aurantium dulcis, orange flower oil, Cistus labdiniferus, labdanum leaf and stem extract, Boswellia cartieri, frankincense gum extract, dimethyl anthranilate, vanilla plantifolia fruit extract, Nicotiana tabacum, tobacco leaf extract, and Betula alba oil. This fragrance contains 100% natural essential oils and or naturally derived minerals as defined by AOSO standard 9235 aromatic natural raw materials vocabulary. Now you see how, because they are transparent with their fragrance, now you see how the scent of jasmine and tobacco is actually made up of all of these additional fragrances that give life to certain extracts that help tone, tweak, and make one scent turn just the way it needs to. This is what I'm talking about, clean fragrances being forthcoming with the fact that they understand that to be like truly clean, they have to stay away from the chemicals or the fragrance compounds that are chemically derived. Jasmine Smoke is one fucking amazing fragrance, and this there's no, I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you wonder, will it last as long without fixatives? Will the fragrance last as long? Will it be as fresh? Will it be as potent on my skin after 8 hours? Jasmine Smoke, I'm going to tell you right now, she don't go nowhere. This one doesn't go anywhere. This sits on you and this stays, and she stays rich and she stays thick and she stays like velvet on your skin, like nighttime draped on you, okay? This scent is amazing. The other fragrance, where's my other? There we go. The other fragrance that I have from Heretic Parfums is Smudge. And Smudge is, again, in the 15 ml size. This runs, 15 ml runs for $65, and the 50 ml runs for $165. I did purchase these with a discount. So, yeah, that's just full disclosure. It wasn't a personal discount. It was a coupon code, a coupon offer that was to the public. If you sign up on their website, you'll get them too. So Smudge says, we've created a liquid version of the Smudge stick, a smudge of burning medicinal herbs, which like my pause because I can't read. A bundle of burning medicinal herbs, which has been used throughout history in various cultures to clear negative energy. We've used these same sacred herbs and resins, such as clary sage, juniper, frankincense, and labdanum. I like labdanum. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, it's a really heavy, rich scent that I really enjoy in fragrance. And blended them into a mystical fragrance that not only smells incredible, unique, and magical, but also possesses cleansing, grounding, and enlightening properties. Use a spritz or two to clear your space, your mind, and your spirit, and smell incredible doing it. Why, thank you, I will. So on the top of the notes is Atlantic cedar, frankincense, and Sichuan pepper. Then at the heart, we have clary sage, juniper, and tonka bean. And the base, we have labdanum, patchouli, Canadian balsam, sandalwood, and styrax. It is sexy, smoky, and airy. This fragrance, Smudge, it smells so good. If you have ever smudged with a Palo Santo stick, that's what this smells like in spray form. Although Palo Santo is considered I'm not sure, there is some controversy over whether Palo Santo is considered a endangered species of plant due to its popularity for the Western world's using it to smudge. It has been used by the indigenous peoples in, I believe, in South American Asia for many, many years as a part of their religious practice. But I do think there is a little bit of misunderstanding and controversy about the actual plant itself, the tree itself, and whether or not it is in fact an endangered species. Come for me in the comments if you want. I'm just saying what I know. So the ingredients of Smudge, there is no official definition of the term natural by the FDA. When we say that Heretic fragrances are natural, we mean that all of our ingredients were extracted from plants with no synthetic replicas. So I'm just gonna spray Smudge. Spray some smudge. I would like go around, like flap this one around the room. Anyway, so Smudge has organic non-GMO sugarcane alcohol, Juniperus mexicana, juniper oil, Pogostemon cablin, patchouli oil, triethyl citrate. I can't, chemicals? I don't know. Cistus labdiniferus, labdanum leaf, stem, and extract, Salvia sclera, clary sage extract, Cedrus atlantica wood oil, Boswellia cartieri frankincense gum extract, Dipteryx odorata tonka bean seed extract, Abies balsamea balsam Canada resin, Santalum austrocaladonicum sandalwood extract, sandalwood oil, Salvia scleria, clary sage flower, leaf, and stem extract, Styrax essence, Styrax essence pyrogenated, Xanthoxylum alatum Sichuan pepper fruit extract, Vanilla plantifolia fruit extract, Betula alba birch tar oil, vanillin, Abies sibirica Siberian fir oil, and gamma decalactone. This fragrance contains 100% natural essential oils and or naturally derived materials as defined by ISO standard 9235, aromatic natural raw materials vocabulary. So again, there's no Palo Santo in here, but it smells exactly like that. Like, it's so good. It makes me hungry for some reason. Smudge always makes me hungry. But again, this doesn't disappear. It's not because there isn't chemical fixatives in it. It's not going to last on your skin. It lasts. There's like the right combination of essential oils and extracts to create a fragrance that is both fragrant and pleasant and long lasting. Just out of curiosity, because I have the sample of Dirty Violet somewhere, I want to look up a different fragrance. Once again, some of these things that people labels that I've seen on clean fragrances, because it absolutely cannot be both it can't be both all natural and cruelty free. It can't be all natural and vegan. Depending on the fragrances that you're having, you will be ending up limiting your ability to produce scents, and a lot of those heavier notes do come from animal sources. So yeah, the ingredients, the ingredients contain top notes of violet leaf, jasmine sambac, heart notes orris, Turkish rose oil, patchouli, base notes cedarwood, labdanum, ambret, and cypriol. That they are keeping things natural. They're keeping things without animal ingredients, but they have had to use a safe synthetic musk alternative, in this particular case ethylene brassylate. All I guess that I'm coming in with, all that I really want to say, I guess, is go check out Heretic Parfums, because even with, not having the chemicals, not having the preservatives, not having the fixatives, these scents are bomb. And I would not buy a 50 ml personally, just because I'm not ever going to get through them, and I have no way of knowing how they will last without preservatives in them. But they wear amazing. They're really, really worth it. They're really, really worth it. Better than a lot of the fragrances sitting on the shelf at the department store. The second thing is that the clean fragrance movement is just that. It's just a movement. It's just a bandwagon that people have jumped on. There have always been fragrances that have been clean of synthetic ingredients, that have been clean of animal-based ingredients, and there always will be, even if they're not being sold, to the general public mass market. If you're interested in those fragrances, all it takes is just a little bit of research into independent brands, independent houses, and how they get their products and how they get their ingredients. And third, sometimes those Instagram ads, they ain't lying, okay? That's the third thing, because, like, I mean, they ain't lying. It's really good. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this little conversation and small review about Heretic fragrances and clean fragrance brands in general. I hope that I piqued your interest to go check out Heretic for yourself. Also, if you have any opinions, whether they differ or whether or not they are the same as mine, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I'm not opposed to being further educated about any topic, and I would be happy to hear other opinions as well as to hear your experiences with clean fragrances. Otherwise, I'm going to leave you for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I am off for now. Ta-ta. Bye.